Man.
Okay, then. Welcome to LATV's Fantasy Rush. This is Steve, and this is...
A disgruntled Lions fan, man.
All right. Well, disgruntled Lions fan. I think he has
Hey,
good
shut up,
reason.
man. I got something to say. This last week, Golden Tate called out the Lions fans for being unenthusiastic. And I ask you...
Do you blame him, though?
At what... Man. And I ask you, at what point did we lose enthusiasm? It wasn't at the kickoff, because I tell you what, they went up 7-0 at the beginning of the game. They were rolling. And then somebody let the air out of the tires, and that team, Detroit, came to a halt. And that's when we lost our drive and excitement.
Well, it could have been when Matthew Stafford started throwing all those picks. that could have let the air out.
Dude, turning the ball over 5 times is unacceptable.
No, it definitely
You
is
have a
unacceptable.
team of players that make $130 million a year, and you can't hold on to the damn ball?
Give me $1 million. That's all I'll do is just hold on to the ball.
And Golden Tate coming out and calling out the fans because he loses a fumble because Matt Stafford's throwing picks. Man, I would take half of your paycheck to ride the bench.
Man,
and
I'll
complain
take
about the
1/10
fans.
of the paycheck.
And complain about the fans. That's
I think
unacceptable.
he was mad because they left.
Because they left, because they were getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
And you know, I said earlier this week, watching Detroit has some of the most loyal fans in the league, because if you think about it, Detroit's never been to a Super Bowl. We always fizzle out in the wild card if we make the playoffs. The last time we won a division championship was in the 90s. And we still show up. We put butts in the seats. We buy jerseys. We get the apparel, and you're going to call us out? We still show up, which is more than I can say that you guys did on Sunday.
Did I mention? Did we? My boys have 2 wins. I just want to make sure everybody knows that Cowboys have 2 wins. They're not 0-5. Speaking of which,
Hey,
I'm not 0-5. All right, I got my first win.
No more
so
Owen.
Get rid of Owen. No more Owen. I'm just Steve now. No more Owen. Any of my leagues. I'm in 8 leagues, man. That was the only league that I did not have a win in. So I'm happy, and I'm coming back. I'm only 2 games out of the playoffs right now. So I'm waiting. I'm making a comeback.
Yeah.
And
now
this guy has a better record than me, but I told him earlier.
I took 2 losses in a row.
Yeah,
but
and I actually have more points scored so far.
Which is what happened to me last year.
Hey, man, we don't want to talk about last year.
Talk about old stuff.
We talk about old stuff, man. We ain't talking about last week. The week
Talking
before.
about
We're talking about
this week.
This week.
Coming up. This week is the only week that matters in fantasy football
Absolutely.
right now, because right now this week is kind of where you can make or break your season. You know, you were talking about your first win.
Yeah.
You're now 1-4. Get another win. You're on a good track. You've made that turn past week 5. You're heading towards the playoffs. Me, I started off solid, 3-0.
Yeah.
Taking 2 losses in a row. If I take another loss this week,
He was talking the big game too. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I have the biggest game talking.
He was just talking how it's gonna be the easiest 2 wins. Hey, man, like it's just like real football. Any given Sunday,
anything can
somebody
happen.
You still got to go out there and your team's got to perform.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, you know, you don't know who's gonna step up.
Yeah.
And you know there was one person on Sunday that I must apologize to for messing up. I got one of them right.
Yeah.
You know, but you came back at me with the flex about 20 minutes later, and you were like, Percy Harvin or Rawls. And I was like, ooh, Percy Harvin? And I liked his matchup, but they just didn't get him the ball, man.
Well, the whole Bills team struggled.
Yeah.
And Percy Harvin was a great matchup. Tyrod Taylor had
struggled.
he had a horrible game passing. He made it up because he had 80 yards rushing and a touchdown. So
Yeah.
I mean, his legs helped him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry.
we can't get them all right. We're human too.
But yeah, I mean, and again, speaking of any given Sunday, anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs suffered
man.
huge loss this week. Jamal Charles, if you haven't heard, you're under a rock. He's out for the rest of the year.
Bad injury.
But who do you go after now? Kansas City's in the same boat that most people that took him in the first round are in right now.
Yeah.
How do you make up his production?
You can't.
And
I mean, the simple answer is you cannot make up
you can't.
production that comes from a Jamal Charles. He's a perennial top 7. I think the lowest he's ever been since he's been in the league is 7th when he wasn't injured, because he's been injured before where he missed a whole year. Same injury, different knee. But yeah, that's terrible. But we're gonna give you a few people you might want to take a look at, and consider.
Yeah. My pick is Charkandic West.
Yeah, Charkandrick West.
Charkandrick West.
Yeah.
And I like him. Andy Reid, as soon as Jamal Charles went out, Andy Reid put him out there on the front lines to help get his team back in the game.
Yeah.
He did well carrying the ball. Niles Davis was second banana to him. But, I mean, if you're looking to get a back that is kind of similar to Jamal Charles' style, something that, he can step into that offense and take on the exact same role as Jamal Charles, the headstrong through the line, catching passes on the slants and stuff like that. It's him.
Well, not only that, I mean, he's, from what all the combine, all the workouts, he's a freak. He's a freak of nature. I mean, they said he can run just as fast as Jamal Charles. He has all the shiftiness. I mean, he's a freak. However, I personally think now Davis might actually, it might be a split. Again, you can't replace Jamal Charles. Yes, Charkandrick West is kind of the popular pick right now because he had 7 carries to Now Davis's 2. But I still think, they like Now Davis there. He was the running back last year when Jamal Charles missed a couple games and was banged up in a couple others. And he had a 100-yard game last year.
And, I think it's going to be the same type of situation as all the running back controversy teams have been this year. It's going to start off as pretty much an equal timeshare. And the way that it's going to go is, whoever is having a better game that day, they're just going to go with game flow. So you can't go wrong with either.
But if you're talking about game flow, I mean, yeah, I think they're both going to be owned. I mean, they're going to both be owned. But if you're talking about game flow, maybe in PPR leagues, if you're in like a 16-team, 18-team league, a really big league, you might want to consider DeAnthony Thomas in a PPR league. No. He's a converted receiver. He was a running back. I don't know if some of you guys remember. He was a big, flashy, not a big guy, a small guy, but he's super fast. Flashy coming out of Oregon.
Which is always a great school for speedy offenses.
Absolutely, yeah. So you might want to consider him as well if you're in a deep league. I mean, not a standard team league.
Yeah, because he'll
maybe
definitely
not even 12-team league.
He'll definitely be third string back.
Yeah,
but he might get a couple of lineups and options where he's going to line up behind Alex Smith, and then they'll split him outside and have him drop into
passes.
Yeah, drop into a receiver position and do like a Julian Edelman type of thing.
So he's somebody to consider, for you deep league guys.
Yeah, no,
or gals.
Absolutely, and it's a great point. One of the things that I was watching this week was Antonio Gates and how he ended up coming out of his suspension and just stepping right back into San Diego's offense and didn't miss a beat. 2 touchdowns last night. I mean, he was on fire.
I tell you what, I was sweating it. I texted him last night and I said, man, I was up 30 points in one of my leagues, and I was like, I got this. Antonio Gates is, he's coming out. He's probably not in shape. Oh, man, I was sweating. He had 20 points with 9 minutes left, just over 9 minutes left, and I was sweating it. So, Team Bolanos, you almost got me, man. That one did get me a little nervous.
All right. Well, and with all that, and Antonio Gates was on my Start That Fool last week, and I started him, and I got it right.
I started in one league. I have him in one league, so I was happy.
I got about 60% last week, but I took some risks, some big risks.
Yeah.
If you watched last week's episode and listened to some of them didn't pan out. But as always, like we said, I mean, we're human. All we can do is look at the stat lines,
matchups,
look at the
and
matchups, and
do what we feel is going to happen based on history, based on the current season. So,
Yep.
Hey, I just want to
what?
mention though.
I'm gonna have no more doubts in Big Red.
Oh, I know. That's exactly where I was going with, man.
I'm a
Andy
believer.
Dalton,
I'm a
are you
believer.
kidding me, man? The Big Red, the Red Rifle, call him whatever you want, man. That dude, he's number one in fantasy right now.
Yep.
Number one in all of fantasy,
And-
not just quarterbacks,
Receivers, running
Receiver,
backs,
everybody. That's a little unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
he's ahead of Tom Brady and
And
Aaron Rodgers right now.
When you were looking him up this week, and he's had a couple of big games, but
Yeah.
this week he's still only 70% owned in
I
leagues.
think just under 75%.
Who doesn't have
owned in
him?
leagues.
If
Like,
he's sitting on your bench, who do you have that you're starting that you don't? That Big Red
there's
is still
some
on
leagues out
free
there that I
agency.
wish I was in because I have Tyrod Taylor in one of my leagues and he's been doing great, but he might not play this week.
Yep.
So, man, I'm
With all that said, I think it's time we get down into it. We do a little segment. Start that fool. All right, guys. So here we go. Mr. Steven,
Yeah.
Brandon Marshall.
I love Brandon Marshall, man. Look, he has a tough matchup because actually Washington's been playing kind of tough, actually. Really good defense. I mean, they shut down Julio Jones and the Falcons for the most part.
For the most part.
Except for Freeman. But anyway, start that fool.
All right. Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde. Now, he finally did something after game one this year. So,
Not game one equivalent, but he did.
well, no, but he had a nice game. He had 93, almost 100 yards rushing, 93 or 95. But I say, sit that fool.
Jonathan Stewart.
Jonathan Stewart. Now,
Ooh.
you drafted Jonathan Stewart probably in the third or fourth round. He was a solid RB2 based on what he did last year. And I think he's had one decent game. But he's playing against Seattle, man. He's playing in Seattle against the Legion of Boom. Chance was back. Sit that fool.
Dante Moncrief.
Dante Moncrief. Oh, man. I started him in one of my leagues, and he did nothing. He had 0.3 points. One reception, 3 yards. However, Andrew Luck's coming back.
Shootout with Indy.
Andrew Luck's coming back, and I say, start that fool.
All right. Josh McCown. He's had a couple
Josh
of big
McCown.
weeks.
Oh, my God. He had 45 points in standard leagues, or 40 points in standard leagues. It was a lot of points. He was the number one quarterback last year in scoring. But he's playing against Denver, man. They are tough. I say, sit that fool.
All right. Jay Cutler at
Jay Cutler
Detroit.
at the Lions. I say, start that fool.
Oh, come on, man. We're going to win this week. Greg Olson.
Greg Olson at Seattle. Now, Greg Olson's kind of been up and down this season. They just coming off a bye. He had a bad game before the bye. But I say start that fool.
Yeah.
Against the Legion of Boom, he's going to do some work.
All right. Jimmy Graham.
Jimmy Graham.
Still on. I can't believe he's part of this discussion.
I honestly can't believe he's on this list, but he is. His production has also been up and down, but it hasn't been that up or that as high as Greg Olson.
No.
I say sit that fool. Carolina's tough, man.
And finally, Peyton Manning in Cleveland.
Another one I cannot believe is on this list. Peyton Manning. He's had some terrible games. He's outside of the top 20 in quarterbacks still.
Well, yeah.
But I say start that fool. I think he's going to have a
Ooh.
breakout game.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Against the Cleveland Browns without Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden is out with the concussion. Start that fool.
I'll give you Josh McCown for Peyton Manning right now.
If I had him,
You said sit McCown?
if I had him, well, I said, yeah, if I had him, I might actually, I might do that.
Wow.
If I had him, I might actually do that.
You hear
But
that?
I don't have him in any of my leagues.
Go to your waiver wire and pick up Josh McCown and trade him for Peyton Manning right now.
Bring him. I'll take him. At this point, I'm still disappointed in Peyton Manning, man.
All right, guys, that's all the time that we have for you this week. Hopefully you had a good time on Fantasy Rush with us today. If you didn't get a W last week, it was probably my fault. But we're here this week, looking on to next week.
Don't blame him. He's a Lions fan, so let's just agree that, well, he's a Lions fan, so let's just do it. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, Fantasy Rush, LATV. Make sure you email us any of your questions, fantasyrush@latv.com. Subscribe to our channel right now you're already watching, subscribe to it. It's not that hard.
Check out some of the other videos on latv.com. And until next week, good luck.
See you guys later.